What's going on, radar and laser nuts? Back at you with this brand new Porsche Cayenne with a radar and laser OEM stealth system set up for you. So let's go ahead and check it out. So this job is a little different than others prior. There's already a system installed in this one, and we actually tested it out while the car was here and had a lot of issues. Sensors were put in different slots, didn't jam anything, even down to like a Pro Laser 3, which is pretty easy to jam. So we decided to, one, kind of reinstall it, set it up correctly, as well as stealth in the sensors, because this is one of those installs where the sensors were just kind of like double side stuck to the bumper. So let's go ahead and check it out. So we've started to do things a little differently when it comes to laser and radar, especially with the laser shifter pods. We now have a PL3D scanner, so when we're designing the system, we're essentially scanning, 3D scanning the front end of this bumper, and we're getting the actual contours of things within the bumper, so those data points. And then we can kind of extract that, put that into like 3D CAD, a program like Fusion or SolidWorks, and from there we can start creating pods that perfectly fit in these areas and 3D print them. So the days of 3D stacking acrylic to make pods are over. These are going to be a lot more seamless and perfectly fitting with the bumper. So this is the Escort Redline 360 system. So we have 3 shifters up front. There's going to be 2 transceivers and 1 transmitter. So the transmitter, of course, is going to be here in the center, and the pod that we created was right here underneath that camera. So the front camera, we took the same kind of shape design and filled in the void perfectly. Couldn't go underneath that because you have the adaptive cruise control there, so we obviously did not want to block any of that area. So the only option to have it dead center is going to be here underneath the camera. So again, that pod is going to completely encapsulate that sensor. It's going to make it, you know, last longer, and of course you're not really going to be able to tell what it is because it's going to be all enclosed and has the same kind of shapes as the camera. So it's going to be fully stealthed in. The cover on there is IR acrylic, so the sensor can transmit through that plastic, same plastic that's on the face of the sensor. Then you have the 2 shifters here on the side. These are going to be the 2 transceivers, so these are going to be the receive. So when we're shooting the car, this is a receive, that's a receive, and that's going to be your transmitter. These side pieces, we essentially have this shifter here that fits in between these 2 diffuser bars here, and you can see the IR acrylic face. The edge of that sensor there perfectly has the same type of design as the sensor above it, the factory sensor. Yeah, as you can see, it just blends right in. You really have no idea anything is installed here in the bumper. You have the IR acrylic face, and so you can see everything blends in perfectly. The radar head is right here behind the bumper as well for the front radar receiver. As far as the back goes, we have 2 shifters, we have 1 transceiver, 1 transmitter. As you can see here, kind of hard to do 3 here in the back of an SUV or most cars, just because you have like the handle here in the center, you have lights here and here, so you can't really obstruct any of that. So really 2 sensors in the rear, which still handles really good against Dragon Eye, and you'll see the videos here at the end of this video. Just another close-up there of the sensors, and the cool part about doing the 3D printing now is we can actually have the tolerances very thin when it comes to the sensors, because before we're essentially routing multiple layers of acrylic, and you can't really keep the edges perfectly thin when you're doing that. So with 3D printing, we can actually make the shifter housings as slim as possible, and of course you can see there that both sides kind of contour that trunk line right there. Now, as far as the interior goes, I'll probably have to overlay a picture up here of the radar display, but this is actually a company radar mirror. They can essentially take your factory mirror and install the display behind it. Now, in the case of like the modern Escort displays, the physical mirror of that section has to be cut out. So back in the day, a lot of the other types of displays could illuminate through the mirror. In this case, the mirror is basically etched here to only allow the display to come through. So it's a good alternative to making something physically somewhere else in the vehicle, and it puts it right in a very easy line of sight to see the display. But due to the polarizer on my camera, I don't think you'll be able to see that. And then as far as the controller goes, you essentially have your Escort controller right here. We have a master power kill switch here underneath the dash. That way you can easily kill power to the full system. Now, understand that the modern systems, they are not like the older ones. They can't really be picked up by the Spectre, which is a radar detector. So if you live in some states like Virginia, you know, cops drive around with the Spectre, which is a radar detector. This system is pretty much immune to that, even if the cop is like right behind you or in close proximity with this system. So keep that in mind. It's very safe, even though we do still have a kill switch here for states in which this is deemed illegal. And understand that in states even like Virginia, where it is considered illegal to have a radar detector or laser jammer installed in the vehicle, it's much like a window tint ticket. So $60 non-moving violation, same ordeal. It's not like it's a criminal offense or they can't impound the car or anything like that. This is not Europe. This is America. This is dealt with a little bit different here in America. Just a simple equipment violation. But you know, when we install this, we always want to do a stealth install, which is why we install the sensors the way that we do on the outside. Even if it's a state like where we're at, Delaware, where it's perfectly legal, we essentially still want to do the stealth install to perfectly have a nice integration with the car. You don't want sensors just double stuck to the bumper, because I mean, even in places where it is legal, who says you're not going to get discriminated against by a cop if he does pull you over, sees that you have this system on your car? It's better when it's all flushed in and a part of the vehicle's design. So one of the cool things Escort finally got right when it came to these systems is easy updatability. The system does pair with your phone, syncs to Wi-Fi, and you can have over-the-air updates finally without plugging your computer in. So now, you know, when you're leaving your garage, you're still connected to your Wi-Fi. You will get a notification if there's an update. You can easily just hit the controller up for yes to do the update. So it's a lot more in line with what other companies like AL Priority is doing, to where you can just like actively update it from the app. So that's a huge plus when it comes to the new Escort. Also, the new Escort Redline system, the sensors are a lot smaller, makes it a lot easier to install versus kind of the older system, or even some of the modern systems like the Unit and R9, where they have a lot larger of a sensor. Makes it a little bit more difficult to install, and the system still performs really well. So again, I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we redid the install. We tested the system while it was here getting other work done, and found that the system did not work at all. One of the things that I've noticed doing this for a long time is radar and laser is probably the #1 misinstalled aftermarket accessory that people do. A lot of people are not physically testing the system when it leaves the shop to ensure that the system is actually working. In this case, they had just transceivers on the back, no transmitters. They had 2 transmitters on the front, 1 transceiver, and the front and rear were kind of flipped. So when you're shooting the back, the front is shooting, you know, trying to diffuse the signal, and vice versa. So, you know, if this were to be tested before it left the shop, you would have known it's not working. Therefore, when this car was originally delivered, it would have worked, because they would have known it wasn't working. It's going to be 4-second jamming from the front, and I'll show you why this is important here in a second. So starting right now, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. 4 seconds exactly. The second that car receives a signal, I'm given 4 seconds to slow down so he can do the speed limit. Me as a cop shooting the car, I'm getting a reading of him doing the speed limit, so I don't assume anything is installed in the vehicle, right? If this jammed all the way to the gun, then I'm gonna suspect there's something installed in the car. So that's why it's important having that 4-second jamming mode. So me as a cop, I'm getting a reading, I'm getting notified in the car, hey, there's a cop shooting me actively, let's slow down, do the speed limit. Cop gets the speed limit, car's still far away. In this case, we still had a range of about 1,400 feet of when the car was first hit, and you know, that's going to be far down there. So you know, that's the reason why we do that 4-second jamming. It's going to be 4-second jamming from the rear. 1001, 1002, 1003, 61 miles an hour from the rear. 4 seconds until I get a reading. I get a reading, so I'm not going to assume anything's installed in the car. Obviously, if the car's doing the speed limit at that point, then essentially we have nothing to worry about. So I'm getting attacked by bugs out here in this field. Here's trying to get a lock. Trying to get a lock. Absolutely nothing. Jammed all the way to the gun, and also note no jam codes here on the Dragon Eye. So no, this does have ECCM built in. No jam codes showing up here on the Dragon Eye. This is going to be Dragon Eye Compact from the front, unlimited jamming. Here's trying to get a lock. Trying to get a lock. Jammed all the way to the gun. On the front, no jam codes. This is going to be Dragon Eye full size from the rear, unlimited jamming. And nothing. This is going to be Stalker XLR from the rear, and this is going to be unlimited jamming. Nothing at all. And perfectly defended Stalker XLR, unlimited jamming from the rear. This is going to be Stalker XLR, unlimited jamming from the front. Nothing yet. Trying to get a lock. Absolutely nothing. Perfectly defended, unlimited jamming. So thank you guys so much for following the feedback. If you are just seeing videos from us for the first time, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that alert bell notification, letting you know anytime we drop a new video. Make sure you check us out on TikTok. We drop a lot of videos before they make it out to YouTube, especially with the radar and laser countermeasure stuff. We do a lot of testing, real world scenarios with different cars, different systems, different platforms. That way you can see all the different systems and how they work. Also, make sure you follow us on Instagram. Also, drop a lot of photos and videos on here before things make it out to YouTube. And probably the best resource is going to be our website, musaicdesign.com/radar. This is where you're going to find a one-stop place that showcases all of the different cars that we've built with radar and laser systems, audio systems as well. And it's going to show all the testing, all the YouTube videos, all the build logs, all the write-ups behind each job. So go ahead and check that out, musaicdesign.com/radar. And finally, if you want to contact me for a job, here's my number followed by my email address. These are the two best points of contact to get a hold of me. And like always, guys, I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you following.
Until next time, peace.